Hey, look, yeah. This speech is called Why We Don't Listen to Y'all. It's for the all.
He made some points, but I don't know. I don't see it like that. I don't know parents. I don't know parents that did not instill things in their children. Everybody I knew, we all were raised like instilling stuff into our kids because that's the stuff that we were looking for. That's the stuff that we lacked. We lacked the affection. Now, we might not have been the most affectionate growing up, but we made sure that our kids had. If they needed tutoring, we got them tutoring. We taught them financial literacy. We'll find them somebody to teach them financial literacy. We garden. A lot of us garden. We were out there. I know for me personally, I always had a garden. I had a flower garden when I was in the city, and then I moved to a vegetable garden once I got into the country. But it's like, my kids were raised around all of that stuff. But sometimes what happens is y'all the kids. Y'all not thinking about stuff like that. If we were like, hey, go weeding. Weeding was a chore. Oh, I don't want to go out there and do that. Or go and pick that. I don't feel like, the bugs. That's what y'all be focusing on. If we set you down for financial literacy, it was boring. This class wasn't interesting to you. That's why a lot of y'all were failing a lot of your classes. It wasn't interesting to you. You wanted to play with your friends. You wanted to be on your game systems. You weren't interested in the school system. You went to school, but a lot of y'all chose not to learn. Y'all chose to play. And you can't keep blaming parents for that because a lot of the choices that was made were choices that you made yourself. And that's the part when I used to take care of children. That was the thing that I always had to keep making sure to drive home. Because sometimes kids, they get lost in the blame game. You have to also have accountability. And you have to be the account because those accountabilities are yours. Parents only play a certain role in your life. We're here to guide you when you're young. But after a while, even like preteen, teen, you kind of make your own decisions on what it is you want to do. And once you become an adult, you've got 100% of the decisions on what it is you want to do. Now, we could suggest that you don't do drugs because we saw how it affected other people, but y'all got the little Superman cape on, which I understand young people, that's that phase, like it's not going to happen to me. But it does. And it do. And then it's like it's just this constant repeat, and then they keep blaming. Oh, my parents didn't teach me this, and my parents didn't teach me that. Life isn't about your parents. This experience in life that you have is your experience. It's not your parents' experience. You have to be the light you wish to see. Whatever it is you have in your mind, the vision of the life that you want in your mind, you bring it into fruition. Don't go by what your parents, because a lot of people who come from the best homes make the biggest mistakes. So you can't sit up there and say bad parents made bad kids, because sometimes good parents made bad kids too. And it's not a parent thing. It's an individual thing. And I think what happens is a lot of kids get tripped up and into like looking at what other kids are doing and what they're doing, where their life is at and where they think their life should have been. And they're not taking accountability of what it is that the choices that they made that led up to it. Life has a lot of forks in the road. We make our decision if we want to go left or if we want to go right. When you got into high school and you said you wanted to have sex in high school, that was a fork in the road. And when you went down that road, now you have these consequences. When you didn't go down that road, now you have these consequences. If you chose to go and do drugs, those were consequences. Those are all your forks in the road. I'm not saying this to demonize or say anything's right or anything's wrong, but those were choices that you made as an individual in your vessel, in your body, that you felt was best for you. And in lieu of all of the choices that are made, you got to pay the consequences for the choices that you made. You can't go around saying, oh, they didn't tell. Because a lot of times we did. A lot of times we did. I don't know nobody that didn't. But, like I say, I'm not mad at any of this, because kids make the choices that they want. Like I say, I'm sure there was a lot of kids whose parents at 18 told them to stay home and pay rent at home because they knew that the child would save more money staying at home than going out into the world and paying rent. But the kid chose to go out into the world and pay rent because they refused to pay rent to their parent because they had gotten used to being rent-free staying at home. Now, we don't know what the parents' thing could be. The parents could have been asking for some money to either help out on the expenses if they were a single parent, or they could have been doing this like to save, pool money together to buy land or buy a building for the whole family for the future. You never really know. You don't know. But kids, sometimes they just get a little stuck in these little ideals and innuendos. Some kids, they didn't want to stay home when they turned like 18, 19. They wanted to get out in the world. They wanted to go live with their girlfriend and live free and do what they wanted to do without their parents coming down their throat, telling them to clean their room and what to do, and they should go to college or they should go get a job, or they wanted their life. I get it. Oh yeah, I get it. But you can't go and blame parents and be like, oh, you should have taught me. You should have taught me financial literacy. You should have taught me how to buy land. You guys probably wasn't even listening at that time. Be honest. Y'all probably wasn't even listening. Because I know a lot of those kids that I was raising, they weren't listening. They're listening now. But when I was telling them when they were 10, 12, 14, they weren't listening. That they were womp. They didn't want to go into the country. They didn't want to be out with the bugs. They didn't want to be out farming. They didn't want to be out in the garden. I even taught a couple of boys how to open up their own landscaping company. They didn't want to cut grass. It was too hot. They didn't get enough water. But two of them got a landscaping company now because they called me. They'd be like, you know what? I'm so glad you made me get out there and cut that grass. I sure did. Because like sometimes you just don't want to listen, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is, what do you do? What is it that you want to do? What is it you want to do with your life? Take the steps and do it. Stop looking in the back and blaming everybody for what you want in life, and start looking at yourself in the mirror and make that mess happen. That's what I tell all my kids. Don't let your past define anything about you. Keep yourself looking forward, because nothing you can change back there. Not a daggone thing. But you can change things in your future. There's, like I said, life is nothing but a bunch of forks in the roads. Eventually, you can get back to the road that you were trying to be on in the first place. All right. Peace, love, and light.